This is episode 91 of the Double Cross Anime podcast. I'm Wooper, and here's Mario.
Hello.
This week, well, you may have noticed that there's no episode 90.
Yeah.
So that's the lost episode. We already recorded that podcast. You're just never going to hear it. We might do a little bit of backtracking to cover the episodes that we missed, but we don't have a lot of time. We got to talk about Poon Poon, and everything else is just kind of eating up that space.
Yep. So last week's was entirely my fault. So we did have a recording, but might just keep cutting off. So we reckon that just save it for this week.
They don't need to know the details. We're in charge around here.
Right.
It's going to be episode 11 of Ito Invaded and Magia Record. Then episode 10 of Eizouken, 22 of Chihayafuru Season 3. And we're going to do Volume 7 of Poon Poon, and we'll probably double back and talk about Volume 6 a little bit for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we don't miss anything important in Poon Poon's development as a young man, however dark and scary it may be.
Yep.
Which one of these shows should we start with, do you think?
I think let's go with ID Invaded.
Okay. Well,
Right.
This will be difficult to do because we've missed our chance to talk about episode 10, or to, record about episode 10, which was where everything went crazy.
Yep. I do say that the show lost me in started from episode 10, and episode 11 doesn't fare much better.
Yeah.
I feel like many of the plot are just so contrived, so stupid. But at least we know like the identity of John Walker now. Are you happy with that?
Not really. I mean, a lot of people who are paying closer attention to this series than I was knew that the chief was going to be John Walker somehow.
Yep.
I don't know. I didn't pick up on those clues, I guess, because I was mostly just watching this show and either going, ooh, ah, at the depictions of people's subconscious minds, or laughing at how dumb it was. Those were the two things, the two modes that I was really in. But I missed the chief being John Walker completely. And we see that he has Kiki like stored in the ceiling somehow in like a biosuit. Yeah, you remember that
I remember that. I don't even know like what that's supposed to be.
Well, that I actually like clicked in my head very quickly because she has that empathic capability to like for people to enter her dreams or for her to project her thoughts or sensations out into the world, however her power works. So you got to figure that she's important to how the Mizuhanome works. The whole well system for people to enter each other's minds. It's going to be based on like her neurochemistry, which is why she's wearing that suit, and it looks like she's wirelessly, sending out signals or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain me then what's the deal with the guy Fukuda?
I don't even know who
like
that is. Oh yes, Fukuda. Yes.
All right.
Whole head.
Yeah, that's the guy. So the last time he told Shakaidos that he still remember everything from inside the well.
Right.
He told Sakaido that it is actually his subconscious, Sakaido's subconscious, that they are inside.
Right, and there was just a storm that's what kicked up all the desert.
Alright, so tell me why like Sakaido figure out that he is the arithmomania. I don't even know how to spell
Arithmomania.
So he crazy about numbers.
Yeah.
And how he is like wanted Sakaido to kill him in that dream. I don't even it's
because there was a moment in this episode where like Fukuda telling him his name
Right.
brought back all his memories. Because if you gain awareness of who you are in your own subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
then it like breaks down your mind, I guess, and like kind of the illusion of you being the brilliant detective is broken. They kind of
Right.
explain all of this. Uh,
Right.
you know how it'll cut out of the well scene. It'll go back to the real world where people are all those investigators are standing around watching like computer monitors and stuff and talking
Yep.
to each other in really lame tech terms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They kind of explain how his memory or self awareness comes back, and then he starts to piece it all together. Um, and he said there's like he when he's explaining to Fukuda, who already knows all of this, he's
Mm.
explaining how they got to this point. He keeps using the phrase "which must be why" to link all of his thoughts together. And I swear, every time
Mm.
he did that, I lost 5 IQ points. It was so dumb. Him trying to explain all this nonsensical symbolic development.
Right.
Just only 2 more episodes, man, and one of them is coming out today. So we're like
Yep.
only 1 week away
I
from it being over.
I I I actually like I still have like a 20% interested to see how this all goes out. So it actually better than like many show that I've been watching right now. I want to see how this end. I want to see how the show would wrap up. I'm not really sure that I want to see how all the leaps of logic they they continue to do. They continue to try to sound smart, but I think that's just like a whole package. That's just a part of the deal.
It's definitely part of the deal. um, yeah, I can't say that I'm really that excited to see what comes next, but I guess what it's going to be is some more revelations about how the whole well system got built up in the first place. Because we've already seen who powers it. It's Kiki, and we already. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
in episode 9 or
Yep,
something?
that's right.
There's like a scientist who's taking measure. She's Kiki's wearing a helmet, and he's like gathering data or taking measurements about her brain
Yep,
function or something.
yep.
And Sakaido's like, "Who are you?" And the guy just I forget whether he gives his name or not, but he just leaves the room very shortly afterwards. Do you remember that
You know him,
scientist guy?
right? He one of the scientists who create the well and like the whole system.
Right. And he was
He's the
buried
one.
on
Yeah,
Momoki's
that's right.
property.
That's
Yeah.
right. He's the one.
Yeah, so we're going to learn more about him most likely and the chief and like because Momoki knew that this was all a trap already. He when they were about to
Right.
dive
Yep.
into what they thought was Momoki's subconscious, which was actually Sakaido's,
Yep.
and
Current.
that storm, that well storm, got kicked up to disguise so that Sakaido wouldn't realize he was in his own mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna because Momoki already knew that that was gonna happen. His involvement will probably be revealed a little bit. So there'll be more flashbacks. There've been a lot of flashbacks in the last few episodes, presented as dreams or what have you.
Yep.
But now we're gonna
How
learn
do
like the truth of like kind of the DNA of the series.
right? How do you take on Hondomaichi like the whole thought process to figure out the real John Walker?
Dude, I could not even recall it for you if I tried. I took notes on this episode and just looking at what I wrote, it's just scattered and there's a bunch of question marks. I couldn't figure it out for
All
you.
right.
There's something about like the days of the week and a
Yeah.
conference
So
in New York, and
right.
I don't
All
know.
right.
It's just a bunch of
All right.
bullcrap.
I think I can wrap up. I can
You
make
can sum it up.
yeah. I try. Let's
All
see.
right, do it.
So she figured out that John Walker actually contact each of the serial killers in some sort of patterns, and she realized that he contact them by the day of the week. So like Monday is this guy, Tuesday is this guy. I don't know how she figured out there was 7 of them to begin with.
It's because she has a hole in her head, man.
Oh
Gives her
yeah, that's
special
right.
powers.
Um, then when she talked to Fukudai, because he's like one of the highly genius guy who remember every details. He can recall the exact time that he met John Walker in his sleep. So
Right.
so he recalled like the three timelines, and the first time is when he actually did ruling the hole inside his head. So that was in an unusual time. I think it's in the daytime. So she tried to backtrack that to the person who actually on the business trip at the time. I don't know why she do that, but she does that. She did that. So that's why she got to the chief.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why she have like the cell phone or something that call directly to that number, and I don't know why the chief would would answer the call, and why we see the chief at your walker. But it makes sense in a way.
Does it?
So yeah, so that's it.
No.
That's how it goes.
No, it doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any fucking sense. This was my favorite premiere of the season. ID
Yeah.
Invaded. Just because I really loved the presentation of the subconscious with all the broken parts of the building, and like Sakaido being able to extend his arms, which were like in segments. Just the like the mystery of it and the visual presentation were really like a big hook for me. They're really intriguing. And then it just ended up being like a clusterfuck. Dude, I remember last week making a comment that Magia Record would have been better if it had been kind of an episodic series where Iroha
Yeah.
helped. Like, you remember how the Sana episode in
Yep.
the artificial intelligence was pretty good because it focused really closely on one character, and we really got to know
Right.
them and understand them.
Yep.
I think Magia Record would have been better if it had taken that approach.
Yep.
And all these rumors or whatever had been tied to individual characters who were struggling with, I don't know, like their family situation or
Even
their
himself.
academic situation or their like self confidence or just whatever, and she could help them somehow.
Yep.
If it took that sort of isolated approach, I think ID Invaded could have done the same thing, like just make it about a different person's subconscious every week, and it would have been cool as fuck. But instead, we got this.
Yeah. That's true. That like if they, because like the concept is very interesting, and the way that I think I keep referring back to the case where where their train just going in circles.
Yeah.
I think that speak very well to the mindset of the girl of the serial killer. I don't
The
remember the
grave
name.
digger.
The grave
Like
digger. That's
she
right.
was the real grave digger, and then the guy who she was having do all her dirty work, he was somebody else. I can't remember.
Yeah, so I really like the way that the world inside the world that represent very well the subconscious of the serial killers. Yeah, if they would just like focus more on that rather than like the whole investigation, how they find out the killers and all these like sound smart stuff, that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, I would enjoy the show a lot more probably. But there is, like, where anime is concerned, there is an expectation that there's going to be a bigger story. And I think that can damage some shows, like overall narrative arc, is that they feel like they have to put that in there,
Yeah.
you know?
I
I mean,
I
sometimes
must
it works out really well, and sometimes it does not do that.
I must say one thing though, that ID Invaders is always ambitious about everything, about the themes, about what it tried to say. So
What are the
at
themes of
least
this
it
show?
tried. The themes is trying to go to the subconscious of a mind in order to find out the real killers.
Yeah. What does it have to say about
Yeah.
killers or the subconscious? What's the message?
It sometimes it all right. Sometimes it say something about it say about why the killers would become the serial killers. It address some of the well
That's right.
all
Well,
right.
this is a
I'm
show
just
about
not really
going into the well.
yep. All right.
This show has lost itself.
Yeah, I know. Let's just move on to My Hero Record.
Great. Another series that I don't really care about. So what happened in this one? I don't even know. I wrote down all the plot points and nothing else because nothing else could keep my... Oh, I have a complaint.
Right.
So do you remember in the previous episode, I think, which was part of the Lost podcast episode, they went to get mugs, right? Every girl was going to have a different mug, which was supposed to be a representation of like their friendship or something. So in this one, they go to get coasters to put the mugs on. So essentially recycling the exact same plot point, only this time it's coasters. Then while they're shopping in like a mug shop that looks like a garden for some reason, a bunch of roses pop up and they get sucked into the witch's labyrinth. Do you remember this?
Yep.
And then they're all holding hands and falling in a circle, like that really popular anime motif, kind of a bunch of people falling through the sky holding hands. Then they transform into blah 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 blah. Then they encounter the boss, and we see the name. You remember how in the original Madoka Magica there were witches' names like imposed on the screen whenever they encountered them. So that happens this time, and it's like, oh man, there's about to be a boss fight. Smash cut to not fighting the boss. Now we're outside of the witch's labyrinth, and there's a shot of the grief seed that they got for beating it. We don't see the fight at all.
Yep.
And I'm mad.
I actually like that. I actually prefer that approach because it's just like all the bullshit, when they have to fight the witches of the week. So it's just better just cut them off,
No, it's not better to cut them off because that means we have to spend more time with these vapid characters that I don't care about.
Well,
I want to see some pretty lights flashing on screen. That's the only thing this show is good for.
Yeah.
Give me little blonde girl hitting things with a hammer and not people talking to each other.
All right. Well, we both agree that episode 9, which is the episode that focused on Sana and I, was the best. And I would say like the last 2 episodes was very, very forgettable. Don't remember much about the plot. I don't care about the characters, especially those who from the wings of
Magius.
Yeah, Magius. There's a bunch of them at the moment. I don't even care for one single characters.
Well, I mean, the series' problem is that if the Wings of Magius is supposed to be this big shadowy organization, then it shouldn't be presenting us with so many characters from that organization.
Right.
It should design one character who is the link between Iroha and Yachio and all those people and the Wings of Magius. And then through getting to know that character, we will slowly learn more about them. But instead, we have the Akane twins or whatever with the purple ponytails. We have Mifuyu, the girl with the gray hair, who Yachio used to know. I think she used to be her partner.
Yep.
There's Toka, who they meet at the Memory Museum at the end of the episode. And I think there were probably even more characters who I can't think of right now who are part of the Wings of Magius. So,
alright, did we see that character Toka before? Is he like with the twin who act crazily like in the last few episodes? Was he the one?
No, the twins are the ones with the purple hair. Toka is the one who they meet at the very end.
All right.
But I also had a question about whether we had met Toka before. I don't know how to say her name.
Toka.
Tauka. I'm trying to say it with a
Yep.
little bit of a Japanese inflection, but it's not really working. Iroha recognized her somehow.
Huh.
She knew her name.
All right.
And then on screen there were like flashing images
Oh,
of like objects that we had seen in Ui's room before.
all right. Is he one of we friends before?
That's what I was thinking. I'm not sure, but I think so because that CG train, that green train that like drove
Yep.
around in circles in that room,
Yep.
was one of the things that was imposed on screen. It's difficult to know because these symbols aren't like really worked into their respective scenes. They're just put on a black screen the show cuts away to for a few seconds at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not always a fan of the presentation
All right.
of this show. And
One thing I'm do glad though that there's only like 2 episodes left. So
yeah,
so next one, I think next one we're gonna see like the backstory or all the events of that year that happened like a year ago, and then I think like the last episode gonna be about we or like about like the like me for you promised the girls that they're gonna see like the real something about the magical girls, the truth about the magical girls or something.
right. That's why they've gone to this memory museum is because Mifuyu invited them to a lecture
Yep.
about what it means to liberate magical girls. So that's the goal or like the mission statement of the Wings of Magius.
Yep.
So that's why they've all come, and based on the fact that they've all come to get answers, presumably we will get some answers in the next episode. But do you remember the rumor that this show was going to be 2-core?
Oh, is it? Oh my god.
Well, that was a rumor before it even started airing. People were like, "This is 26 episodes," and then that kind of went away. People stopped talking about that. But based on what we've been getting so far, like just the series kind of being paced rather languidly, like it's not really concerned about dishing out all this information. Like Ito Invaded is saying, "Here's John Walker, and here's all these serial killers, and now they're inside Sakaido's mind, but now it's a desert." But this guy has arithmomania, and he's crazy for numbers. It's like just vomiting answers all over the place. Magia Record is just like kicking a rock and down the street, and then slowly walking up to it, and then kicking it again. And then
that's true. That's how I feel about the show as well.
so there may be a second core in like fall or something, or I'm sorry, spring would be when it would come.
I can tell you one thing for sure. If it's gonna be a second call, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, same here.
Enough.
I was just that's where I was going to next. Was if there's a continuation to this, I'm not watching it. Definitely feel okay making that decision. So I'm with you there.
Right. In one of the moments though, we see Yachiyo come into her room, looking at the mirror, and we see like the masked face, which I think like it's a kind of face that Iroha and one of the girl before had that face when like when they I think when that magic runs out.
When their magic
I think
runs
it's
out.
just like the dark side.
Yeah, well, it's called a
I
doppel.
think it's
In the show, it's called a doppel, like short for doppelganger.
A double?
Doppel.
All right, yeah, all right.
And that's
right.
that's one of the mechanics in the spin-off game is like every character has a doppelganger or a doppel. So the show has incorporated that kind of loosely, I guess, as being like the character's alter egos. And I suppose it's related to its magic system, however that works. But it hasn't been really consistent with it.
I think that's gonna be what we learn in the flashback next episodes.
Probably, yeah. Because I mean, Yachio holds everyone at arm's length. She doesn't. At one point in this episode, Mifuyu says, look at all the friends you've made who are staying here with you in your house, and etc." And she says, "Oh, they're not friends; they're just roommates."
Yep.
So she doesn't really let anybody get too close, and that's probably because she has some darkness within herself. You know, she's afraid of her doppelganger because maybe hers is really powerful or something, and it could really hurt someone if she allows it to. So, we'll definitely learn more about that because Mifuyu should have been the one character who was like the link to the Wings of Magius, because she has this past with Yachio. She could have also gotten close to Iroha, and then Iroha would have slowly learned more about Yachio in her quest to I don't know, find Ui. Her search for her sister. The show just seems to include it when it wants to, and then when it doesn't, it thinks about other things, which is frustrating.
Yep. Yeah, that is true, and still a lot of characters. Like oh my god, it's just like I don't know. It's like a dozen characters.
Yeah, and I don't know any of their names because they don't really matter too much.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Do you have any other thought on
Nope.
my record? Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
All right, Eisuken no Chiharafuru.
I don't know, man. I did the intro, but you can make that call.
All right, let's go to Eisuken.
Okay.
All right, I told you last week, which was Lost, that I thought that episode 9 was a good startup of the new new arc.
Right. For the animation they're going to work on to take to Kamike.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure that I think that episode 10 up to that level.
Episode 9 was pretty unique. Like it got into Kanamori's backstory.
Yep.
Her time working at her grandparents or aunt and uncles.
Yep.
The shop, and then they went down into the underground shopping district. And she had set up a meeting with some member of the town council, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very creative. It went to a lot of different places, both like internally within the characters' minds and externally in the town, the city where they live, which is like a big kind of water park.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, they do go to some new locations because they go on the sound hunt.
Yep.
But it's definitely not as
focus.
It doesn't focus as much on the characters' like internal lives or their pasts or anything like that. Because Kanamori is really pressuring everyone to, let's get this show on the road. We got to produce this anime. While at the same time, she's receiving pressure from above her.
Yep. And at the same time, we see like how Asakusa get inspired by by all these how the clock works, how that incorporate to her new stories. But at the same time, she doesn't really connect those inspiration to her current project.
Yeah. This is a problem that she's had since the very beginning.
Yeah, that's right. Which I think is like very unfocused of her.
Yep. It's gonna cause problems. And problems are definitely coming because near the end of this episode, one of the student council members threatens Kanamori by saying, when you're working outside the bounds of the school, you're not going to receive the protection that you normally would as a student.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this theory that the girls are going to get in trouble because so Kanamori is putting a lot of pressure on Asakusa to create this story. And throughout this episode, Asakusa keeps bringing up story ideas from other anime.
Yep.
Like, for example, the clock tower scene that she's describing where there's a fight on the gears and stuff, like the internal mechanisms. That's from Castle of Cagliostro, the Lupin movie. Yeah, that's straight from that film.
All right.
And I kind of feel as though what she describes at the end, that spinning machine or whatever it is with the bells. Yep. The way she describes it is like transmitting wishes and gratitude from the surface world to the underwater world. Pretty sure that's from Nagi no Asukata.
All right. Is it? All right.
I think so.
All right.
So
I haven't watched that show, so I have no idea.
I and like the
Yep.
visual language of the episode as well, with Asakusa dressed up as Hayao Miyazaki in one scene with the plaid shirt and the beard, and Kanamori doing like the Akira bike slide. Remember when she's riding the bike and she does that skid, just
Yep.
like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scene in Akira with the motorcycle. There's like the visual language of this episode, and also all the ideas that Asakusa is coming up with. They're all references to other anime. So I think what's going to happen, and I've been belaboring this point, is that they are going to make this anime, take it to Comic, and they're going to get in trouble because they will have ripped off some idea from another anime, and they
Right.
won't be protected by the school
Hmm.
because they're profiting from the work.
All right. That's a good drama if that ever come into the case. Not really sure if it only have like 2 episodes left, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna have time to um make it like powerful, make
Yeah,
like
I
all
mean
the conflict click together.
that's true. There's only 2 episodes left. I don't know if they can really. I mean, everything to me, based on the case I just made, or whatever you want to call it, everything to me points in that direction. Especially the threat from the student council member at the end, like when it's sunset and they're by the river. Everything points that way. But yeah, like you say, there's only 2 episodes left. I don't know if they can really make that happen.
That's an interesting take note. I like that.
Well, I actually have something to say about this episode as opposed to the last 2 shows that we talked about, which I hate.
Yeah, go on.
No, that's it. That's what I had. That's what I had to say.
Yeah, but I think like the inclusion of the student councils in this episode, in this particular case, is that even though she against some of the ideas or some of the way that the Ezoken Club implement their anime, at the end of the day, she still acknowledged them for like being creative and I think as you recall that they have the world unto themselves.
Yeah, they live in
So
their own
I
world.
think that so I think that it's just the way that she acknowledged them as working towards something and not for the benefit of profits.
Yeah, I mean, Kanamori does. She makes the argument that it's not all about the money. Like, money is a representation of time well spent, or what exactly did she say? Oh, productivity. She likes productivity, and money is how you gauge productivity. That's what she says. But it does seem to me as though she's after the money.
Yep.
And I'm sure it seems that way to the teachers and the student council as well, because she's adamant that they be allowed to kind of work on their own and
Yep.
make some money from this whole thing. I thought that scene was really interesting. The one in the classroom across the long table,
Yep.
the meeting that they have with the teachers, and she just kept
She's the
throwing
only one
everything they said.
talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything they said she like threw back in their faces.
Yep.
Is an interesting. The dialogue in this series is very good. I think it's one of the best things that it has going for it.
Right. But regarding to the current project, I don't think like there is any like meaningful development towards like I do think that this episode like our main three sidetrack a lot
Yeah.
from the main story.
Yeah, the sound hunt is definitely the wrong place for Asakusa to be, even though she's the general director and she says that she ought to have a hand in everything. I mean, Kanamori tries to get her to go back and finish her work,
Yep.
but Asakusa justifies it somehow, and then she gets to go on this trip, and then you kind of get the sense that there's like a eureka moment at the end of the episode when she comes up with the idea for the
Yep.
device, the spinning device rotating that sends gratitude, blah blah blah, to the underwater world and stuff. But when you think about it, that doesn't really connect to what she's been doing so far.
Yep.
So it may be that the actual problem they're going to have to deal with in the next few episodes is that they'll have spent money on this project, or the town will have spent money on this project because of the, like, she's cooperating with a guy who works at the, what, who was he again? The guy
he
who
worked in a ramen shop.
ramen shop, yes. What it was ramen? Yeah, with fruit, right?
Yeah, fruit ramen
Yeah.
shop, I think.
So he's part of the, like, the town preservation committee or
Youth.
something like that.
I think it's something about youth association or something.
Yeah. Thank you. That's right. They may have invested in this project, like fiscally, monetarily, and they, based on the rate at which things are proceeding, they may not make it on time for Kamike, where they can recoup their, the investment and make a profit. They may not have a finished product, and so no one will want to purchase it. And then they'll be in the hole, they'll be on the hook for that money because people will have invested. That may be the protection that they won't get from the school.
Well, I for me though, I do think that's like all these like random inspiration that Asakusa just got. I think she will try some way to incorporate them into the story that they currently have. I don't know how well or how tightly like all these things connect to each other, but I think she will make it something that like connect all these together.
I mean, hopefully so, but this episode doesn't bode well for that prediction.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yep.
she's just a kid. Like, she's really just a kid in her heart. She's just having fun. And Kanamori is not a child.
Yeah.
It's time to stop playing, is what she's probably thinking every time she looks at Asakusa. Get back to work.
Yep. All right. Do you have any other thought on these last two episodes?
I really like the scene where there's the white background, which the show often uses when it's like in a character's headspace. And all three girls are standing there, and Kanamori starts yelling at Asakusa, and her brain starts to go on the fritz. She starts smoking from her head, and then she starts melting, and she creates a hole in the ground and melts down into it. I thought that was really creative.
Yep. I love that scene.
I wanted to mention that. Especially the POV shot of someone looking down into the hole, and Asakusa's down there, and she looks up.
Yep.
I thought that was a good image,
Yep. All right.
That's it.
Chiharafuru.
Mm-hmm. I love this episode.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's finally a break from Karuta. We've had enough of that.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. So I don't necessarily think that I like this episode more than the others, but it's the first one that we don't have much of Karutas. We have preparing chocolate for Valentine's Day. I one of my criticism in this episode is like the timeline actually run pretty quick.
Oh yeah, it covers like 2 full months. It goes from February to April to February to March to April. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. 2nd of April, I think. Is
that Taichi's birthday?
Of Taichi. Yep.
Yeah. The Taichi Cup. Woo!
Oh, the Taichi Cup. I have a good laugh on that, but it's alright.
We're gonna see Harada playing again. That didn't take too long.
Yep.
He lost the Meijin match, but he's still back. He's still back out in the public eye. He's ready to play some more Karuta. Support his protege there.
Yep. Well, consider that Taichi is playing in his club. It's good. I think it makes sense that he would agree to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, he could have just stayed at home and been like, "Wah, I lost." No, But he's an old man. He's full of wisdom and sageness. Right. I'm sure that he's already processed his loss. He's good to go.
And
But
I'm not sure
we're
like
not
how many
talking about
episodes
we're not talking about Karuta anymore. It's time to talk about
all right, all right,
chocolates.
all right. I'm not sure like how many episodes left we got for Chihara Furu this season.
I
Maybe
think
two
it's two
more.
more.
So I
Yep.
yeah. So I don't know like how what is the end point for the show wanted to end with.
I actually know, but I won't say.
All right. So there's like another high point from here.
Yes,
Interesting.
there's kind of a climactic moment.
All right. I would say
So
that will include like our three main characters, or that, or could just be Taichi confesses to Chihara,
that would certainly
which
be
is
a big moment.
right. Which actually take him how many episodes?
Like 70 something.
Yeah, 70 somethings, and over the course of 2011 to now, which is 9 years, in order to do that. He-
I mean, in universe, it's like 2 years, but well, I guess not because he knew her in elementary school, so it's been a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time. But yeah, I mean, he said he was going to confess, didn't he, to
yeah. He
Sumire?
he, he said that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
Uh,
I'm gonna tell her how I feel because she encouraged him to do that with the fermented squid guts.
yep.
But in order to
What
talk
is your
about this, we have to
favorite?
back up and talk about the chocolates.
Yep.
They made
What is your favorite
chocolates.
moment in the episodes?
My favorite moment is when Chihaya, when they're making the chocolates, and Chihaya, she's about to say like "sugoi," because they're so amazing.
Yep.
So she goes
Yep.
"su," and then and then you see a close up of her face entering from the left hand side of the screen, and she says "sugoi," and she has a bunch of chocolate in her mouth. And for the next like 30 seconds, every time you see her talking, she has a bunch of food in her mouth because she can't help herself. She just has to take a bite. I thought that was so cute.
Alright. Yep. That is cute. Like I'm pretty sure that if I saw like a girl in real life does that, I will fall for her. I think I do.
It was just such good
That's so
comedic
cute.
timing. Like she's making the chocolate nice and easy and following Sumire's instructions in all the normal looking scenes. But then the show will impose over top of that her face with like her big chipmunk cheeks with like cocoa waffles or whatever it is they're making. And she'll just be like marveling over how delicious it is. Oh man. All right, I'm done talking about the chocolate. It was
All
great.
right. My favorite moment is gonna be the one where Sumide confess, because normally it would be like the confession is normally it would be loud and would be too dramatic for me, but this one though it just so so heartfelt. I think the way that she know that she isn't the one that Taichi in love with, but she tried to be straight to of her feeling to Taichi, and then recommend him to do the same.
Yeah.
That's a really good moment.
Yeah, and it's represented, visually by the fact that when he looks in that bag, or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
it is that because like the show establishes beforehand that she bought this chocolate with a 100% success rate, like of romance. You'll definitely snag your man if you buy him these chocolates, or whatever. And instead, she gives him the fermented squid guts,
Yep.
which the girls had talked about before as something that he would be happier with.
Yep.
It represents the fact that she's given up on him reciprocating her feelings. But then the problem that you brought up earlier, that the show moves through time so quickly, kind of rears its head when
Yep.
in the second half of the episode she appears not to be over him, like she still has a crush on him.
Yep.
Because we jump a month into the future. I'm
I
sure that she's no longer like scheming in order to make him her boyfriend or anything, but You could tell that she's still. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't
Yeah,
fall
who
for him?
wouldn't?
He's top of the class. He's rich. He's good looking.
Uh,
You know.
yeah. I think that like he wanted to be a lawyer or like his
Isn't it a
mother
doctor?
is a lawyer or something. Yeah, lawyer doctor.
I thought he was going to go to medical school. That was the plan that his
Alright,
mom
alright.
had for him.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah. But he's neglecting his studies in order to play Karuta.
To become a king.
Right. Yep, he doesn't want Arata to be the one to dethrone Suo. He wants that to be him, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, since Arata made that declaration in the
Yep.
last episode, I think it was the last episode, but the fact that he's going to be, he begs Suo to stick around for another year so he can defeat him. I feel like that it won't be Arata because that's just too simple and too obvious, and it might be Taichi instead. But I don't know.
Yep. Let's just see because I do think that the mangaka have been way too easy to Arata the characters. Like he always been the one who very gifted. He's always win when he when he wanted to win.
Then why
So-
didn't he beat Harada in the qualifier match?
Because they wanted Harada to win on that one.
Yeah, well, he doesn't just turn on a switch in his brain that like Arata doesn't just turn on a switch in his brain that says win and then he wins.
Yep.
In fact, the last tournament that we saw him in, the one where Taichi stayed behind, the something cup,
Yep.
Memorial Cup, I don't remember.
He placed
Arata didn't.
second.
He beat Taichi,
Yep.
but he didn't win. He
Yep.
Murao. I have such a hard time pronouncing that guy's name. I'm just gonna say Murao. He
That's
lost.
the
He
thing.
lost to him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing because the manga want him to lose in like the unimportant tournaments, and when it comes to the important one, he's the one who win. He played.
No, that's not true. He lost to
he-
Harada in the Meijin
All right.
qualifier match. That
Yeah,
was the
he
most
was
important match he's had so far in his life, and he lost.
All right. But before that, he was playing against Muro in the final of the region. He was he was sick at the time. He had to go to toilet multiple times. He was losing like 12 cards, I think, at the time. He came
Yeah.
back. He won.
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
But yes, he's super gifted. I mean, his grandfather was an eternal Meijin. He held his title for 5 years.
Is
He
it like
dedicated-
5 year in a,
Yeah,
in a row?
if you win
he's
5 years in a row,
unbeatable?
you're an eternal Meijin. Yes.
Alright,
so
so
Suo
Suo
could have
is-
retired. That's why he wanted to retire after 5 years. But
Alright.
he's gonna stay. Anyway, I mean, it makes sense that Arata is this good because it's part of his family lineage, I guess. And he also spent a huge amount of time practicing as a very young child, which is going to be key. That's going to give him a leg up over people who start like when they're in their teens or even when they're like 10 years old. He was probably doing it since he was, I don't know, 5 or something.
Right.
It's not as though he's good just because the story wants him to be good. He is good at Karuta within the story.
So
But
yeah.
Taichi's gonna be better. He's gonna get he's gonna get all this training from Suo. He's gonna level up. I don't know.
Yep. He gonna hopefully he gonna confess his feeling to Chihara as well. But
I wonder how that's gonna go.
Knowing Taichi, I think that he gonna say like, I have a feeling for you, but I will wait until I become a Meijin in order to properly
So dumb.
ask you out.
That's so dumb.
I know, but that how how the girls like it.
No, they don't.
I don't
I
know,
don't think
man.
I don't think women no, I don't think women like that because then you like it's not about them. Then it's about the guy like
prove themselves.
feeling yeah, it's about the guy like putting a condition on their attraction to a woman. Oh, yes,
Yep.
we can be
Well,
together if. What woman wants to hear that? No, they just
yeah.
if they like someone, they want to be with that person like a normal human
Right.
being.
All right.
Boys are stupid. Is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, I
especially in
know.
anime.
I
Especially in anime.
hopefully Chihara Furu doesn't go that route. I doubt it out.
We'll see, I guess.
Yep. And I actually kind of surprised at the fact that Canada, she doesn't know how to make a chocolate because she seemed like the one who like pretty good at all the housework
Why
and
did wait?
cooking and
Whoa,
stuff.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Why are you making that assumption? Hold
All
on.
right, just
It's
just
2020,
just because
bro.
I like her characters a lot. It's just because I like her characters a lot. But all right, it's just a side note for me.
I mean, she's not just because she's like quieter than Chihaya and not a shonen protagonist in like disguised as a really beautiful girl. That doesn't mean that she is going to be automatically into cooking and cleaning. She's into poetry, and she's into fashion. I suppose you would say like kimonos and stuff like that. She helps her mom run her business. She's not making the meals.
All right, all right.
But now she's gotten a little.
I
Now she's gotten a
I
little training from Sumide. You know, she's starting to level up a bit in her confectionery skills. So
yep.
maybe next time she'll be the one making the chocolates. Who knows?
All right. I I think I'm the only one who say, but I find her character more attractive than Chihara.
No way.
Yes.
After the Sugoi scene with Chihaya with a bunch of cookies in her mouth, there is absolutely no way. Plus, her eyes are weird. That like the whole thing where she has three eyelashes, or two, or whatever it is. There's even a reference to that in this episode when Sumide like buys the eyelash. They talk about false eyelashes and like mascara and
Oh,
stuff.
all right.
That
Huh.
wasn't particularly well. The show didn't really expound upon that, but
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, Chihaya the best.
All right. I think you've forgotten about Shinobu.
Oh, I did. You're right.
Shinobu is the
Shit.
best.
Yeah, you're correct. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right. Let's just move on to Pupun.
Okay. How are we gonna do this? Do you want to start with volume 6?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about volume 6 and then 7. So volume 6 mostly talk about Pupun mothers.
Um, kind
Mostly.
of. Yeah,
All right.
there's a bunch of wait, what am I? Yes. Which volume was the one where Seki took on like he wrote down his number on some poster as like he was a handyman or a part-time guy and he almost kills the guy at the was that
That's the one before that.
okay, that's volume 5.
That's the one before that. I pretty sure
Right.
because that was the one before the time skip. Hold on.
Well, the
Yeah, yeah.
time
So
skip happens
that
in volume
was
6, which we're about to talk about. It happens at the end of volume 6.
yep. That was in volume 5. I should check.
Okay. Yeah, so this one is pretty focused on Punpun's mom, but also on Kanye, the girl. I mean, she's not
Oh
in
yeah, yeah.
focus as of Volume 7, but she and
Yep.
Punpun go on their date to the art gallery. That's a pretty
Right.
significant part of this volume too.
Yep. I think this is the volume where Pupun got like the sexual drive that he tried to score a girl just to have sex with her,
Yeah.
and that backfire. But I do think it's more like it also more like a trauma from his previous experience with Midori.
Well, even more than that though, I think this volume really draws a close link between Poon and his mother, because they both substitute sex for like emotional intimacy. So they can't be or feel close to other people. So instead, they use sex.
As a mean.
As to feel close.
Yep.
Like doesn't the first chapter of this volume start with Mrs. Onodera like having an affair with that guy?
Yep.
That married man, and she pulls a knife on him after he says that he won't marry her.
Yep. See, yep. That's yep. Because he just like kind of half serious about that. About like, would you just divorce your current wife and marry me? And then he didn't answer. And then she just
he says, I can't do that.
All right. Yep. And then she got upset, and then she just make a tantrum basically.
She pulled a knife on him.
Actually got, and then we actually got to the flashback of like the very first chapter, when we see more about how Poon father hit her.
Right, because she pulled a knife on him.
Yeah. She actually put it's not really that she pulled a knife on them, but more like she pulled a knife and then she tried to kill herself.
Well, yeah, that's what it becomes. But first, she threatens them with a knife. She like brandishes at them and points it at them. Yeah, and then she threatens to kill herself. At least in the one with her husband.
Yep.
That was. Yeah,
so
that was freaky.
I feel kind of bad for. Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Poon father, because he is framed as like like domestic violence, and I think he got into jail for that.
Yeah, he went to prison.
Yeah, but turned out
jail,
it more like a circumstance of the situation.
Well, who knows? He may have been abusive in other points in their relationship. I don't know.
Yep.
That would require going back and reading from the beginning, which I assume I will do at some point in my life, because the manga does circle back and tie into, earlier volumes and chapters and plot points, pretty often.
Right.
I think.
Yep.
And this is just one example.
Yep.
But yeah, when do we learn that exactly? Okay, so chapter 59 is when there's a flashback to the night that she pulled a knife on Mr. Punyama and then threatened to kill herself and Poon. But this was after she said she wanted to split up and take Poon with her.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was just so like crushing,
Yeah.
She's got some sort of personality disorder. I mean, obviously, her whole life has been like this. Even when after high school, she like went, or maybe she didn't even finish high school, but she went to Europe and like backpacked all over the place and stuff.
Yep.
And then she came back. She hadn't really changed at all. She was still kind of a cold person.
Yep.
We learn a little bit about her. There are some flashbacks, like kind of intermixed with dreams and stuff when she's in the hospital, and we see some scenes of her like late childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember any of this?
I don't remember much of those scenes though. I don't remember much of those scenes though.
It was difficult.
I still remember. Yeah.
There was something about like children had there was something that she and Poon found in the back alley behind a store or something, where it was like a magazine and kids had like drawn circles around all the women's breasts.
Right.
And it was supposed to be a taunt.
I don't recall that.
Okay. I like, man, you just the scenes where she's in the hospital and having these dreams and these flashbacks and hallucinations, just everything that she's experiencing. You could do like a 45-minute podcast on just that. But she's remembering her life, and there's not a lot of warmth or love to remember, I don't think, as she goes back through it.
Yep. And then she meet like a kid, Pun age, form a connection with him.
Yeah,
Actually,
Harumi.
Harumi. Yep. Actually, a bit full for him as well, but but she.
He has a girlfriend.
He has a girlfriend, and she, all right. She tell him to talk to the girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. I think the reason she does that, like psychologically speaking, is because she wants for herself what he has a chance at getting. Like even though he made a mistake and he caused this accident, based on what I remember, because it's been a week since I read this volume, but they were riding two people on the same bike, and he was going too fast and they crashed, and she had this horrible accident, and he got away, he's like scot-free. He was totally fine.
He just got like his leg, his leg
his arm
broken.
It was his leg, not his arm.
It was his leg. He played soccer.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. He didn't. He was injured, but she, like, her face got really messed up in the accident.
Right.
So anyway, he goes and apologizes to her and says that he still loves her. He does this at based on the advice that Mrs. Punyama gives him. But I think the reason that she encourages him to do that is because she wants him to achieve that sort of closeness and honesty that she can't have for herself. And on some level, she recognizes that about herself. She can't have that. But she wants him to have it, even though she's developed these feelings for this like 16-year-old kid. She would still rather him achieve that happiness and that closeness than like claim it for herself, like falsely and temporarily. So even though she does buy him those cream puffs, at the end, and she's unable to give them to him because he reconciles with his girlfriend, I think she's still, like, she wasn't that hung up on him anymore because he got what it was that she wanted him to get.
Yep. I think like from that encounter with Harumin, it just more of a fact that she learned that she still have a feeling with her ex-husband. She wanted more from him, and that she wanted to reconnect with Poon Poon, in which she failed. And Poon Poon, like, we got the confirmation by the narration after that. Even though that, like, few years later, Poon Poon mothers died from
Cancer.
died from illness, cancer. Yeah.
She had breast cancer, like her mother. Her mother also died from breast cancer.
All right. Poon Poon just doesn't feel anything about towards her.
Yeah, and he couldn't love her even at the very end. Yeah.
Yep. Wow. It's a cold and it's just sad. Like,
Yeah, well,
especially in beginning of chapters, in the beginning of volume 7, that we learned that, like, on the letters Poon Poon received from her father were actually in fact Poon Poon mother's written.
Yes, and that was something interesting about Volume 6, is that we see Poon Poon's mom mailing a letter to Poon Poon. We see that it's addressed to him, but we don't know what it says.
Yep.
But then we learn in Volume 7 she was the one mailing him those. Dude, I would really love to just read this whole thing, because then, like, we're doing it week by week, but the connection between her mailing that letter at the end of Volume 6 and learning that what the letter was at the beginning of Volume 7, like, that would be so much
Powerful.
Yeah, like well, the experience of those two chapters would just be closer together. You could make the link that much more easily.
I I do think that the placement of this event should be better if it come at the end of volume 6 rather than beginning of volume 7. But that's how Poon Poon as the manga kind of work like that, like this. We got some
Like what?
we got like some new events, like we got like the last chapter of the event is a time skip, so like it's
Right.
a whole new things, and then the next one is like close off. So it was more like, if I think they can pretty well just include the first chapter of the next volume into the last chapter of the latest volume, and that would have been much more impactful. But they
Well,
just do it this way.
if you read it as one, I mean, because they weren't originally published as volumes, right? They were serialized in a magazine and they were published as chapters.
Oh,
So
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 it's
68 did
yep,
immediately follow 67 in real
that's right,
life.
that's right. Is that gonna be like week by week?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, same as any other manga coming out week by week. Yeah, they're only bundled into volumes after the fact.
right, right.
That's just how we're consuming
Yeah,
them now in 2020.
yep. That like that would make much more sense then,
I guess so, but you could also just read it continuously, and then where one volume ends and another volume begins wouldn't matter so much. I mean, the
Right.
fact that there's a time skip does matter, but even in the chapter that reveals that there's a time skip, there's still so much like information about the relationship between Poon Poon and his mom.
Mm-hmm.
For example, she has a flashback just before her death, and the thing that struck me the most was her telling Poon Poon in their home, "You ruined my life,
Hmm.
and you should die. You should take responsibility for the fact that you ruined your life. You ruined my life, and you should die with me."
Huh.
She
All
says
right.
she says that to him
I
in a flashback when he's still young, and I assume that ties into the scene where we see her get in a cab with
Yep.
Poon Poon. You remember this was
Yep.
volumes and volumes ago, and she says, "Take me to the sea."
Yep.
I think that was her and not her husband.
That
Pretty sure that was her.
her. That
Yeah.
was her.
So this is before this, I guess. This flashback that we
Right.
see in chapter 67 is just before that.
Yep.
And she tells the driver, "Go to the ocean." And that even before that happened, it's not as though it came out of nowhere. She was telling Poon Poon, "You ruined my life and you should die to take
Mhm.
responsibility for that." It's no wonder that he can't love her. The sort of
That's
the sort of
right.
parent that would say something like that to their child is obviously not going to be showing them love throughout the course of their life and their upbringing. She can't
And
even
the
love
fact
herself
the fa- yeah, that's right. And the fact that like every time she want to talk to Poon Poon, look at his face and then she got mad.
because she sees her husband, and
Yep.
probably because she sees part of herself as well.
That's right. So I think it's no wonder that Poon Poon doesn't share any love to his mother.
Yeah, yeah. And he can't show love to other women either.
Yeah, well,
Because his first relationship with a woman,
yeah,
his mother, is going to, there's sort of a I don't know,
yeah,
like a basis in that relationship for how your relationships with other women will be. And I think it's the same for, your relationship
and
with your father will inform how you treat other adult men.
males,
Yeah.
right? Well, even
So he
like
doesn't get
his
along
second,
he doesn't understand women, he doesn't get along with women because he can't because of how he was raised.
yeah. But like even like his second relationship with a woman, which is Midori, and ended up really badly as well.
That wasn't a relationship. That was rape.
That I mean, like before that, they consider themselves as part of family, right?
Yeah. And we see in volume 7 that he's like ignoring her completely.
Yep, yep,
Yeah. Even though she's trying to take care of him, You know,
Yep.
it's she's trying to be his mom, and what was his relationship with
Right.
his mom like? It was terrible. So when
Yep.
Midori is trying to, mother him, he's like,
Yep.
fuck that. He
He
doesn't want any
he
part of that.
he doesn't even say anything.
Well, yeah, he doesn't
Like
respond in any
she,
way.
yeah, she gave her she gave him the note about buying the phone. She actually went out to buy him the phone, and he actually didn't like respond or anything.
Yeah, I think he probably just because after that you see a shot of that bag
Yep.
that the phone was in his closet. So he probably didn't even retrieve the phone.
Oh,
He
right.
probably didn't even get it out. He just left it in the bag, put it in the closet. That's my guess.
Huh. All right.
He may get it out later because the plot may require him to like contact someone, you
All
know.
right.
So that may be like Chekhov's phone instead of Chekhov's gun. Like the phone is there and ready
Yep.
for when he needs it to
Yep.
contact somebody.
But that also inform his relationship to the girl. What's her
Kanye?
name? Yeah, Kanye.
Yeah.
That went pretty badly, and I can understand why Kanye would be so upset about.
She's a
why.
normal person.
Yep.
He's not normal.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
But I mean, even on Poon Poon's date, when he sees the
He-
painting of the starry sky, I mean,
Right.
he thinks of Aiko.
Yep. Yep. That's
So
true.
it's not as though he has some deep attraction to Kanye.
This is like the only like time period where he met Aiko at all. Like we see like all of these timeline that he met he meet Aiko, he contact Aiko, but this one Aiko is like completely out of the pictures.
Well, I mean, there was a 2-year period before this where he was going to the same school as Aiko, but he never talked to her.
Right.
The whole badminton thing.
Yeah, badminton. So like
Yeah.
like they did talk a bit like at the end.
Yeah, at the end, but that was after 2 years of silence.
Yep.
Yeah, she's just not present in
Yeah.
high school because they're not going to the same high school.
Right.
But he still thinks about her, He still has this image in his mind of like them being together.
Yep.
Probably because of that promise that he made with her.
Yep.
If he ever disappoints her again or like betrays her or lies to her, that she'll kill him.
Mhm.
Which is very similar actually to the promise that Midori made to Yuichi.
Yep.
It's this like Poon Poon is just like he has all the neuroses and the mental sickness that his mother and his uncle have.
Yeah. So that may be the point of the story. Like a mental sickness run in the family, run on the gene, claim the
Yeah.
gene.
Well, I mean, he was also brought up by his mother, so that certainly wouldn't help. There's an
Right.
environmental factor there too.
Yep.
But yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think the whole reason that the date with Kanye goes sour is when she learns that his mom is undergoing surgery and he skipped it
Yep.
to go on the date with her.
Yep.
And she thinks to herself, who could do this? Who would do that?
Yep.
Poon Poon would.
Yep.
Why would he want to go to the hospital?
Yep.
And
Right.
in his mind, he would be wasting his day.
Yep.
It would be like going to the surgery of a stranger.
Yep. And the day that he expect to like end up having sex with her.
Yeah, why would you go to a surgery when you have a chance at having sex instead?
Right.
I'm sure that's what he's thinking.
Yep. All right. In volume 7.
Wait, are we done with volume 6?
We actually talked a lot about in volume 6, but you have others.
Well, we have to
details.
mention Sachi because she recurs in volume 7, but she first appears in volume 6.
Oh,
She's
right.
the artist who
Oh,
did the
right.
Milky Way painting
Yep.
that reminds him of the starry night sky that he saw with his friends in volume 2.
Right. And then
So that's really important.
And then he writes some kind of notes like regarding his childhood.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and like the planet Punpunia or whatever,
Yep.
where he and his family can live happily.
Yep.
And also, interestingly, at the very beginning of that because it's a guest book, I guess, that he writes in
Yep.
thoughts about this painting. At the very beginning of his journal entry, he mentions Mio, the popular girl from his kindergarten class who moved away
All
and
right.
who we never got to know.
Yep.
I've been wondering about her all this time, and her name popped up here again. What like there? I swear, if she's not really involved in like whatever the underlying story is,
Yep.
then I'm gonna be mad because her name popped up again. That can't be a coincidence.
Well, maybe she's just some random girl whose name Mio. I don't know. I'm not really. Can't tell, man.
I don't. I mean, it can't be random, right? Because she was included in the story.
Yep.
It's not as though Asano went through like a Rolodex of all the Japanese names in the world and all the Japanese faces in the world and picked two at random and decided, oh, I'm just going to put this at the start of my story. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it there. There was some reason why he did it, and I would like to know what that is. But
Yep.
anyway, the date doesn't go well, and he tries to force himself on Kanye, and she slaps him, and then, you know, she doesn't tell anyone about it, and Punpun's happy about that.
Yep.
And then we get to volume 7.
Right. When we see Pun fathers come to meet him and offer him to live with him,
Yeah.
which he declined. I think like if I was Pun when like just learn about the letters that it the letters written by mom, not from his dad, I would be upset as well.
Yeah, because it means his dad wasn't in contact with him.
Yep.
Even though he hated the letters.
Yep.
He thought they were stupid and full of nonsense. But it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So in that scenario, either the letters were real, like from an audience perspective, I guess. Either the letters were real and his dad is an idiot, or the letters were from someone else and his dad is a terrible father because he's not contacting his son. Even though he was in jail for however long, he has nothing but time in there. You know, write some letters to your family or whatever.
Yep. Oh yeah, we actually Pun moved to the apartment where we see before in volume 5 about the apartment that have ghosts in there.
Yeah. So that's the same the old man who died in there. There's a reference from the landlord to him having been in a cult.
Yep.
Probably the same cult that we're seeing now. We get a lot of that in this volume.
Right. I actually think that the father, the one who died, that involved in a cult, is actually the father of Saki, because Saki did mention like his father was used to be the owner of the shop and then involved into some cult and then like disappear or something.
No, Iseki's dad is still alive. He's not an old man. Like you remember the scene where he threatens him with a baseball bat?
All right.
He threatens to kill his dad and
Yep.
Yeah, his dad's still alive.
All right.
This was just an old man who was involved in a cult. Now it could be the Pegasus ensemble that we see in this volume, or it could be the cult that Aiko's mom was involved in.
Are they the same or are they not the same?
I think at this point, I think they're different, but there might be. I mean, it's kind of a big coincidence that there are two cults here, so they may be linked in some way.
Yep, and then we got like the whole chapter about they introduce each member of the cult, and then the new girls, they welcome in the new girls, which her name is Hirumi. I wonder if we saw her before.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I also wondered about that. Actually, during that chapter, and we kind of skipped over a couple of chapters, but we can go back to them.
All right.
There are 2 chapters in a row that use the point of view technique, where everything that we see, every panel that we see, is from someone's perspective. So first is
Yep.
chapter 70, which is from Poon Poon's, like, we see through his eyes.
Right. Like
That panel
his
narration kind of
his
pattern.
his normal daily life.
Right. And at the end, Poon Poon is just
Happy.
fine again today.
Yep. Yeah.
Isn't that what it says?
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously he's not fine. Like, that's the point of the entire chapter, is that he's just going through his day and processing everything that he's seeing, but not really
Yep.
feeling it. So
I-
then in chapter
I-
71, which... Hello?
Yeah. I just gonna mention a little bit about that chapter. I
Okay.
like the way that everything go through his point of view, and then there's like one big panel where it's like pull off, and we see Poo Poo
Yeah.
like in the field of like thousands of people. So he just like an insignificant characters inside that.
Well, he's
And-
looking back because he thinks that he hears someone call his name.
That's right.
So he looks behind him, but there's no one who he recognizes. How
And-
long did you spend looking at that panel to see if you could find someone?
All right, how long? It took me just few seconds to see Poon Poon actually, because he actually stand out.
Well, I'm not talking about Poon Poon. I'm
if
talking
you-
about the person who may have called his name. How long did you look for that person?
I didn't even look for them because I don't think that someone actually calling his name. Just like
Okay.
he thought. That.
I thought it was going to be Aiko, so I looked for like 3 minutes.
All right. Did you
Like
see
I-
any icons?
No, but I looked like at every person's face because
Alright.
I thought there was going to be someone calling his name, but I guess that was a silly assumption to
I-
make because
Ye-
the whole point of the chapter is that he's
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. All right, you can continue on with yours.
Yeah. Poon
in the
Poon is just
chapter
fine again today.
71.
So chapter 71 is the second chapter that uses the point of view technique. So the whole beginning of the chapter and all the introductions are from Hiromi, this new character. They're from Hiromi's point of view. Like, we see her riding a bike, and we see like her hands on the handlebars, and her going through
Yep.
doors and stuff. Yeah, and then we only at the very end do we see Hiromi,
Her.
and
Yep.
Pegasus, the leader, the crazy guy, says that there are 2 years until the fated moment.
Right.
And
And
I
they
think
need
there
2
was-
more members.
Yes, that's right. They need 2 more members. Yeah, and we're getting some hints about who they might be
Yeah.
as the
I-
volume stretches
my-
on.
Yeah, that my first thought gonna be like 2 more members gonna be Poon Poon and Aiko. I'm not really sure though.
Well, I think Mimura, his friend,
Oh,
Poon Poon's
right.
friend from high school.
Yep.
I think he might be one of them.
Hmm.
Because
Makes
if we want to
sense.
skip ahead for a moment to chapter 75, in
Alright.
Mimura's room, he's sleeping, and Pegasus, the crazy homeless man, the cult leader, he like opens an extra dimensional door and steps into
Yeah.
Mimura's room. So I assume that that's representing him entering his dreams.
Yep.
And he's telling him things like, "Oh, you're destined for greatness," and the 7th major harmonic is like that's a frequency that we both vibrate on. He's telling him just a bunch of cult shit,
Bullshit. Yeah.
but it really impacts Mimura, and so he tells Poon Poon about it later. Like he had this dream, and he feels like he was visited by God, and he feels like he's destined for greatness. So he may be one of the 2 people who will join the cult. I don't know. Because he's still around,
I really,
Asano chose to keep him
Yep.
around after high school was over as a character.
yep. I love that shot. I love that shot of like normal room, and then a mysterious door appears. It reminds me of Paprika.
Yeah. Dreams like being entered in
Yep.
kind of a creative way.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess Pegasus is really some kind. He has some sort of supernatural ability or
Yeah.
something, because to enter someone else's dream.
Hmm.
I don't know. He's kind of like Kiki from Ito Invaded.
All right.
It all
Yet, yet,
it
yet,
all
yet,
connects together.
yet kill every single dream.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to be like her because then people are
Yep.
coming to serial kill you.
Yep. Yep. Uh, we also see like Poon Poon landlords as well. So he have a bit of talk to Poon Poon.
Yeah, uh, that was chapter. When was
Something
that?
something.
When was that? Oh, so that was at the end. Basically, that was 77, and
All
78
right.
was the last one. But that was yeah. That's when Poon Poon becomes Triangle Poon.
All right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What did you make of that?
Uh, I just thought that it was very interesting. Um, I thought that it's mark another like development from him from the child poo poo into the uh because we see that triangle poon poon when they say like he want to haul up into the this the tatami mat. So I'm just thinking it's just like um the fake poo poo, the one that he the image that he tried to put like another under front that not himself. That's what I think.
Yeah, the landlord says he has a like a lonely but unexpectedly resolute stare, like
Yep.
he's trying to put up some kind of wall or facade, put on a brave face. And I think I think the triangle was, or the pyramid, I suppose he was, because when
Yep.
you see him from a bird's eye view, you see that there's the three sides. Um, would that make it a pyramid? I don't know.
Mm.
Anyway, like the triangle is said to be like the most geometrically stable shape.
Yep.
It's like the strongest shape. You kind of learned about that in like middle school,
Right.
maybe science
Yep.
class. Um, so maybe that's the idea: is that Poon Poon is trying to like he's trying to secure himself. Um,
Hmm.
like he's trying to be
All
strong.
right.
I guess maybe that's the reason for the triangle, because there must be a reason. Like it wasn't. He didn't drop his pencil on the page and see what kind of shape it made. He drew it. So there must be a reason for it.
Yeah, but
Um,
remember later when he meet Saichi and Saichi told him about working with her in the manga stuff. So he transformed from the triangle, the pyramid, into like normal poo poo.
yeah, because it breaks through his whatever front it is that he's putting up. You know,
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
because
that's right.
someone expresses interest in something that he had come from like a childish place inside of him.
Yeah.
So he goes back to being the younger looking Poon Poon that we remember.
Yep.
But then alcohol gets involved.
Right.
That whole sequence was pretty wild. Like her being out of focus, and then the speech bubbles being upside down, and then he has the dream about Aiko.
Yep. And then and then he wakes up. He wakes up on the handles.
I don't think he was sleeping next to her, was he?
Yeah,
She was
he
just
wasn't
passed out in
sleeping
his
next to her,
apartment.
but yeah, but like the first thing he saw is her underwear.
Yeah, when he walks in to the main room of his apartment, I guess.
Yep.
Comes out of his bedroom, and there she is, asleep.
Right.
Yeah, that was. I don't know how the. I hope that he doesn't. Man, the next chapter could be really messed up.
Yeah.
I hope that he just can keep his hands to himself, because he wasn't able to do that on his date with Kanye in Volume 6.
All right. He can keep his hands to himself. I just I'm just afraid the other part of himself he can't. He can keep it in himself.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, we didn't talk about in Volume 6 the scene where he like after his date with Kanye, and
Must.
she leaves and goes home. Yeah,
Yep.
he like I don't know whether he jerked off or whether he peed.
I'm pretty sure that he jerked off.
Yeah, but
That's
it it looked like urine to
sexual
me.
frustrated.
Oh yeah,
You know.
he was definitely sexually frustrated, but it looked kind of like anyway. Yeah, we didn't mention that, but I mean he does it on a playground. I'm sure
Yep.
there's some
In the
psychological
rain.
reason. Yeah, there's some psychological reason for that. Like he went to he was kind of a child in that moment.
Yep.
I guess like he's been through puberty and all that, and he's like sexually mature at this point, but he's still like a child who can't get love, and so he goes to the
Right.
playground to do it, perhaps unconsciously. That was
Uh,
bizarre. And he has a similar kind of
but
weird. I mean, not a sexual one, but he has a weird breakdown in chapter 76. Do you remember
alright.
this?
No, I don't.
So chapter
What happened
76
to that?
is chapter 76 is the one where Poon Poon he's walking through town and he sees a bunch of kids
Oh, all right.
in their raincoats, and he thinks to himself about how the children are full of like hopes and dreams, and it's enough to
Yep.
drive him to. And then he leaves that thought unfinished. But we see an image right after he thinks about what their happiness and what their optimism is driving him to. We see an image of him holding his umbrella. We see the point of the umbrella.
Yep.
That really freaked me the
Maybe he
fuck
trying
out.
to push like one of these kids off the cliff. Oh God.
I lost you for a second. What did you just say?
Maybe he tried to push like one of the kids off the off the playground or something. I don't know what he's implying to
wasn't-
do here.
There wasn't a playground. They were coming.
oh,
They were
yeah,
jumping down like those stone steps in the rain. They were in their raincoats, and he's got his umbrella. And
Right,
we
right,
see
right.
we see the point of the umbrella.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I think that what was implied was that he considered like an act of violence against those children, because we see the
Alright.
the pointy end of the umbrella right after he thinks about what it is that they're driving him to do, and then after that it's like, never mind, it didn't drive Poon Poon to anything. And then later in that chapter, the breakdown that I was talking about, he leaves his apartment. Like it's late at night. He's watching the TV, and that test pattern comes up. With all the different colors on it. The test pattern
Yep.
on the TV
Yep,
when
yep.
it goes beep. So then that disappears, and there's only static. And Poon Poon leaves his apartment and goes outside.
Mhm.
Do you remember? And it's raining outside, and there's like a light pole that he hides behind. Do you remember this?
Right. Yep.
And
we
then
see
there's
like
there's one panel where he like screams.
Yeah, and before that, like we see like his face like in dark. It's look like monster basically.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's all about. That was
That
a chapter
was
that really
right.
kind of threw me.
Yeah, that was right before he become a pyramid.
Right. Yes. So there must be some significance to what happens in chapter 76, because when we next see him in 77, he's a completely different. He looks completely different.
Right.
So I don't know what the deal is with chapter 76. That's also the one where his shift leader at the convenience store says that like high school girls are the best thing in the universe, but he would also be okay with middle school or elementary schoolers. Do you remember that?
That's very weird. I
Yeah.
remember that.
It doesn't just sound weird. It sounds criminal and totally sick and insane.
Yep.
It's so like that whole chapter 76 where Poon Poon like sees those young children and like is repulsed by how bright and happy they are.
Yep.
And then here's that comment from his shift leader at work, his part-time job, and then has that whatever that weird that breakdown is that he has outside in the rain. I don't know if that scream that he makes, I don't know if he's screaming or maybe he vomits. That's what that what all those letters were.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I mean, that chapter is as clear an indication as anything else that he is not well.
Yep.
Some
I
really
think
messed
most.
up stuff going on.
Yeah, I know. And it because that he doesn't make any friend. He's staying alone, by himself most of the time. So I think like the last few chapter where the landlord take him out, talk to him, and then he met Sachi at the end. I do think it's like the positive side, and when she act like some interested to him, like she wanted him to contribute to the manga. I think those are some positive side to him that he can connect it to other people.
I guess. I mean, I don't think any of that stuff is going to work out.
Yeah, well,
He'll just go back
he
to being alone
he
and depressed.
he gonna end up with Aiko for sure in the future.
One of them is going to end up dead.
Yeah, or both.
Could be. It could be a double suicide, man. Like we were supposed to get in Aku no Hana, and then
Yeah,
something happened. I can't even remember.
and then
Somebody
Ichi
stops
came
them.
out.
No, didn't someone like physically stop them? I can't remember.
All right.
Oh, no,
She
she
put
pushes
him
him.
off the stage.
Yes, and then
Yep.
tries to kill herself.
And
but
then-
her dad stops her, maybe?
Yep, and then before she even before she can do anything, like her dad stop her, and everything come to naught.
Yeah. But I guess we'll see what happens in Poon Poon.
Right.
Man, there's so much more in this volume that we haven't mentioned though. Like he sees Aiko. I don't think we've said that yet. He saw Aiko.
All right, he did.
That's why he got
And
this
then
new
he,
apartment, because it's so close to the train station where he saw her.
Oh, all right. I see. That's why. Yep.
Yeah, he saw her, and then
yeah.
so he sees her in chapter 72.
Mm-hmm.
He's just drifting through life. He's got one of those really shitty part-time jobs where you just hold like a little clicker, and every time someone walks by, I don't know, is this a real thing in Japan? Because I've seen this in anime as well. People get a part-time job, they just click a little thing whenever someone walks by.
I think I know the purpose of clicking. I think it's like to count all the people
Oh, yeah.
passing by. I don't know why though. They need to do that. Usually, like they do that in front of the concerts to time the people coming in.
Ah, I see.
But
I
I
mean,
don't know, like in this situation why they need to do that, like in the middle of the subway. I think I'm not really sure.
It just measures foot traffic, I guess, so they can get an idea of who's going where. But it's like,
Right.
it's a terrible job. You're just sitting there clicking that thing. Like, what?
Yep.
It's possibly the lowest skill job in the world. You just have
Yep.
to move your thumb. Like,
Yep.
anyway, so
Well-
he's drifting. He has this terrible job, this terrible life. And then he sees Aiko. And then what I really loved about chapter 73, which
Mhm.
picks up immediately afterwards, is that like there's this scene of him like squeezing out of the doors of the train
Yep.
and like running after her, and you see that thing that his legs do, like that frantic like
Yeah.
fluttering of his legs
Right.
when it's like such a joyful feeling that you get looking at
Yep.
him doing that, because he's like moving with such purpose and such speed,
Yep.
and like there's like a bounce in his step. And even though the story is so wrapped up in like negativity and depression and like death, because his mom dies at the end of volume 6, and that's a huge shadow that's cast over the whole series. Despite all of that, he can still like be a little bird who's like flapping his legs or whatever, trying to run after a girl that he likes. So I appreciated that.
And yeah, and when he doesn't see Aiko, we see a little tears down his face as well.
Yeah, I always love seeing those because it means he's still human.
Have feelings. Yep.
Yeah, like he doesn't cry when his mom dies.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, but he
Well,
can still feel.
and Aiko looked great.
Oh, just forget about
I'm
that.
all right. I mean, like how many years old are they now?
I don't know, but I don't care about her age. Like, who cares how she looks, man? She
I do.
she's extremely emotionally damaged.
So what? Cecil looking great.
That's messed up.
Poon Poon look great as well. Indeed,
Yeah.
a pyramid form.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
No,
Uh,
I actually feel like the pyramid form is bizarre, but it fits his character well.
yeah, I did. That was something I really thought about. Like, I didn't think too hard about, oh, what is it? What does it mean? What does the pyramid mean?
Right.
I did think about it a little bit, but more than that, I thought about how much it suits him,
Yep.
and I just kind of like held that in my mind for a little bit. Like, this is really working. It's so
Hmm.
that's so
Maybe
interesting. He's a pyramid. He is a pyramid, isn't he?
right.
I just
A,
kind of
a,
like
a
turned it over in my
floating
head.
a floating pyramid.
Right? Yeah.
And
Sometimes we see him with no legs.
yep. And I do think because one of the other reason is because pyramid or like a triangle is more like multi-dimensional compared to like a bird. Would we see like it's just like one dimensional? So I do think it's come back to he putting on the front, like the side that um he wanted people to see, not like he chose himself.
Oh, interesting. I see. Okay. So like the pyramid has three or four. I think it was three sides when we saw it from above. But
Right.
then when he gets that little smirk on his face, we only
Yep.
see the one side. Like he's just trying
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
be kind of aloof and above it all.
Right.
Interesting.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Interesting. All right. Well, the last thing I
Hmm.
think that I want to say about this volume is that Poon Poon makes a suicide pact with himself.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If his life is
And
still
is
the
it
same in 2 years, he'll kill himself.
all right? Is it gonna be 2 years? The same that 2 years that the cult of Pegasus talking about like the end of the world.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Huh.
It's the same amount of time. That can't be a coincidence.
Yep.
Um,
I
so he
see.
like he fails to find Aiko. He comes home to his shitty apartment. He's alone. He hears
Mhm.
two normal people in a relationship,
Right.
having a dumb argument and then having makeup sex afterwards. And he's alone in the dark listening to that happen. And then he thinks to himself, if nothing has changed in 2 years, I'm just going to kill myself. So
I remember he actually remarked about the couple as well. Like I
oh yeah,
like
yeah.
he wished that like the boy was dumb and the girl was airhead, I think, because because of something. Because that would be
Well,
less depressing than something.
exactly. Yeah, it would be just for the two of them to be like totally uh, stupid, for them just not to matter,
Yep, yeah,
basically,
yeah.
would be more comforting to him.
Right.
Because if they were really productive members of society or particularly like intelligent or anything like that, and they still are acting this way, um,
Yep.
then like there's just no hope for him, I guess, is the idea.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so we got the Pegasus cult counting down 2 years until the end of the world. Um, we've got Poon Poon counting 2 years until the end of his life. And there's
Yep.
the search. The search for Aiko is going to be put on hold for a little bit, I guess, because Sachi is currently pantsless in his apartment.
All right. Do you think that we're gonna see Aiko in the next volume?
I don't know. Maybe
Right.
maybe at the very end, like he'll get
Yep.
sidetracked for a little bit with whatever's going on with Sachi, or perhaps some more drama will pop up. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about his talk with Yuichi and
All
how
right.
Yuichi
Oh
knows about what
yeah,
happened
yeah,
between him
yeah,
and
yeah.
him and Midori. Yeah,
I
like
just
some.
I just
Go
remember
ahead.
like he said, "You reap what you sow."
Yeah, But I don't think that was
that's
directed at Poon Poon. I think he was being philosophical, like he usually is.
no. I think he aiming at himself. But
Yeah. Well, he
that
says he's still waiting for Midori to kill him,
yep.
and he says to Poon Poon, like, where will your grave be?
Hmm.
You know, I think he recognizes the trouble that Poon Poon is going through, and how much he fits into the pattern of their family.
Right. Okay.
A lot of disturbing stuff,
Yep.
but as
Yep.
usual, it's got what am I trying to say? It's got a little bird and a little pyramid on it, and
Yep.
you can just barely make it to the end of a volume without wanting to just lie down and go to sleep.
Who would have known that the little bird can transform into the pyramid, the
Yeah, I
floating
mean,
pyramid?
he has unlimited potential. He may be the key to saving the world.
Right.
If the Pegasus Ensemble gets a hold of him, we'll see.
Yep. All right. Um. Yeah, that's gonna wrap up our this week podcast. In 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, we're gonna do the our seasonal preview of the Tensos.
I
My
think it's
God.
gonna be like a month from now.
All right, a month from now. But it comes so quick. Hey.
I actually feel like I feel like because of ID Invaded and Magia Record that it's been dragging.
All right. Well, hopefully we can finish like most of our Pun Pun before then.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to put it on hold for a couple weeks when we do first impressions and whatever else
Yep.
maybe. But yeah, we're gonna get it done. It won't be too long.
Right.
We're halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through as of right now.
Yep. All right. See you guys next week.
Take it easy.